It started with a single interview. Just 10 minutes of conversation that spiraled into a storm no one saw coming. Dakota Johnson had been promoting her new project at a major film festival, speaking about independence, authenticity, and how fame often tries to shape people into something they're not. She laughed between sentences, calm and graceful as always. But within hours, the internet twisted her words into something entirely different. One headline read, "Dakota Johnson throws shade at former co-star." Another claimed, "Dakota's arrogant remarks shock fans." Clips of her speech were cropped, edited, and posted across social media, stripped of context, exaggerated beyond recognition. Within a day, her name was trending for all the wrong reasons. On Twitter, thousands of users debated her tone, her expression, even her body language. Some accused her of being difficult, others called her ungrateful. It was the same cycle that so many women in Hollywood had faced: misunderstood, misquoted, then crucified. A fan posted, "Why are people always waiting for her to fail? She's one of the kindest people in the industry." But the noise drowned out the kindness. Dakota, true to her nature, stayed silent. For days, paparazzi followed her every move. She was photographed leaving her house, her eyes hidden behind dark sunglasses. Tabloids published close-ups of her face, analyzing her expression like a crime scene. "She looks stressed," one outlet wrote. "Maybe she regrets what she said." But those close to her knew better. Dakota wasn't hiding, she was thinking. A source close to the actress told Variety Confidential, "Dakota hates drama. But when the narrative turns cruel, she doesn't ignore it. She waits. Then she speaks with purpose." And that's exactly what she did. It happened a week later, at a women's empowerment event in Los Angeles. The auditorium was filled with industry leaders, journalists, and fans. Dakota stepped onto the stage in a simple black dress, her hair tied loosely, no over-the-top glamour, just confidence. The crowd quieted as she took the microphone. At first, she spoke about her work, her journey, and the lessons she'd learned navigating fame. But then, her tone shifted. The audience leaned in. "I've learned," she began softly, "that silence can sometimes feel like safety. But it also allows people to write your story for you." There was a pause. That kind of stillness where every camera lens freezes. She continued, her voice steady but sharp. "I've been called names, labeled things I'm not, and told to smile more when I was hurting inside. But I'm done apologizing for being myself." Applause erupted instantly, but Dakota raised her hand slightly, asking for quiet. She looked straight ahead, her voice clear and grounded. "I don't speak to tear people down. I speak to remind myself that I can't be everyone's version of perfect, and that's okay." The room exploded in applause. People stood up, cheering, clapping, some even wiping tears. Her words cut through the noise, not angry, not defensive, just honest. Backstage, someone recorded the moment, and within minutes, clips from her speech flooded social media. The headlines changed overnight. Dakota Johnson's powerful speech silences critics. From Target to Triumph, Dakota's boldest moment yet. Fans reclaimed her name. Hashtags like #I support Dakota, #Dakota speaks truth, and #respect Dakota Johnson started trending. But what caught everyone's attention most wasn't just her speech. It was who spoke up for her right after. Minutes after the video went viral, Jamie Dornan posted a short message on Instagram. "Always proud of her. Always will be." It was just 6 words, but it said everything. Within an hour, the post had over 1 million likes. Fans filled the comments with heart emojis and messages like, "He's always been in her corner." This is real support, not performative. For many, Jamie's words weren't just friendship, they were solidarity. He wasn't adding to the noise. He was standing beside her in silence, just as she had done for him many times before. By the end of the day, the entire internet had shifted. Critics were quiet, fans were louder. The narrative had changed. Dakota was no longer the target. She was the voice of strength, resilience, and grace under fire. And as one journalist wrote in Elle, she didn't fight back with anger, she fought back with truth. And Jamie's quiet support proved what loyalty really looks like. The storm had finally passed, but its echo was only beginning to be felt. Because what Dakota said next, in her follow-up interview, would redefine not just her image, but her legacy. The world hadn't stopped talking since her powerful speech. Clips of Dakota Johnson's calm yet fiery words had spread across every platform, from late-night shows to fan accounts across the globe. For the first time in weeks, she wasn't being dissected or mocked. She was being celebrated. But what made the moment even more unforgettable was what came next, when Dakota finally decided to speak openly about why she had stayed silent for so long. In an exclusive sit-down with Harper's Bazaar, she appeared radiant but grounded, dressed in soft neutral tones, her voice steady yet reflective. The interviewer began cautiously, asking what had driven her to break her silence after days of intense online scrutiny. Dakota smiled gently. "I've learned that if you don't tell your truth," she said, "someone else will tell it for you. And they'll tell it wrong." She leaned forward slightly, her tone soft but resolute. "I wasn't angry," she continued. "I was just tired. Tired of watching people twist kindness into weakness, or honesty into arrogance. I'm not here to please everyone. I'm here to live honestly, even if that means being misunderstood." The quote would go viral within hours. It wasn't just a clapback, it was a manifesto. But what moved people most wasn't the interview itself, it was the quiet presence that appeared in her life soon after. Jamie Dornan, who had already voiced his support publicly, made a surprise appearance at an awards ceremony where Dakota was being honored for her contribution to film. Fans spotted him slipping in quietly, taking a seat near the back, avoiding cameras. But of course, nothing escapes the eyes of Hollywood watchers. When Dakota's name was announced and she walked onto the stage, applause filled the room. And as she began her acceptance speech, she noticed him. For a brief moment, their eyes met, and she smiled, that unmistakable soft smile that fans had seen 1,000 times before. She began to speak. "Life has a way of teaching you who truly stands by you, not when everything's easy, but when things fall apart. I'm grateful for those people. You know who you are." Jamie, sitting quietly among the crowd, clapped, a faint smile forming across his face. The camera caught him only once, just long enough for fans to lose their minds online. Social media exploded. "He's there for her again. The loyalty between them is unreal. This isn't a Hollywood friendship, this is real." Later that evening, photographers captured the two of them outside the venue. Dakota in a simple gown, Jamie in a dark suit, walking side by side. They didn't pose, didn't hide. They just talked, laughing softly like two people who had seen each other through too many storms to need words. One insider told Entertainment Weekly, "He's always been protective of her. Their connection isn't about the past, it's about trust. She knows that if the world turns against her, he never will." Fans began calling it the moment Hollywood remembered what loyalty looks like. But Dakota wasn't finished. In another interview days later, she addressed the haters directly, not with anger, but with grace. "I don't need everyone to like me," she said simply. "But I'll never let anyone make me smaller. I've spent too long trying to be polite in rooms that were never meant for me." Her statement earned global praise. Celebrities reposted her quote, calling it the most empowering thing said this year. Jamie's wife, Amelia, even liked the post, a gesture that fans saw as a sign of maturity and peace among everyone involved. Then, Jamie himself shared something unexpected on his Instagram story, a simple black and white photo of the sky, with Dakota's quote written across it. "Strength isn't loud, it's consistent." He didn't tag her. He didn't need to. Everyone knew. That post became one of the most shared images of the week. Fans around the world began using it as a message of encouragement, attaching it to photos, captions, and digital art celebrating Dakota's courage. As Vanity Fair later wrote, "She didn't clap back with sarcasm. She answered with wisdom. And he stood by her, quietly, unwaveringly." By the end of the month, Dakota's reputation wasn't just restored, it was reborn. She had gone from a misunderstood actress to a symbol of female strength in Hollywood. And through it all, one thing remained clear: Jamie Dornan had never left her corner. In the final moments of her latest press tour, a journalist asked Dakota one last question. "What keeps you grounded through all of this?" She smiled softly. "Real people," she said. "People who don't need the world to understand us. They just understand." The clip spread across social media, accompanied by that same photo from Italy months before, Jamie and Dakota, walking side by side, laughing, oblivious to the cameras. Because in the end, it wasn't about proving the haters wrong. It was about proving that authenticity, loyalty, and love, in whatever form they take, always win. And as one fan perfectly commented beneath the final video clip, "She spoke, he stood by her, and together, they silenced the noise."